Greetings, fellow Biafrans and lovers of freedom, all seekers of justice all over the world, all lovers of good things and haters of injustice. I greet you all with you again here today on our program Let's Pause and Ponder. Is the 11th Chukwumerije. We want to dissect something that's a very current development as we speak. Within the last few hours, Baba Ahmed, the spokesperson to the Northern Elders Forum, in one-on-one chat with a Channels TV. So it's in Channels TV just some few hours ago, so you can go watch it. The topic there, their caption is Baba Ahmed, North in talks with Ohaneze Ndigbo to build bridges of peace. North in talks with Ohaneze Ndigbo to build bridges of peace. Politics. This is the topic in Channels TV, so if you want to go and see for yourself, the spokesperson to Northern Elders Forum has spoken the mind of the Northern Nigeria. He has spoken the mind of Northern Elders Forum and by extension the mind of the North. They said Peter Obi doesn't have what it takes to win the 2023 Nigerian general elections. Peter Obi, Labour Party, does not have what it takes. They doesn't have, so they are looking amongst their choices. He was able to, he didn't know the interrogator, the Channels TV presenter there, who lured him into unveiling what the package they have in stock. Now Ohaneze has been deceived into an alignment against their own son. You can see that our Ohaneze are men of little mind. Our Ohaneze, they are not tactful at all. Sometimes it's not about not being tactful. Some of them are tactful, but they are cruel, they are nasty, they are too cheap, they are sellouts. They are sellouts. Even when they are not supporting IPOB agitations, the one that is their own son, some of them would have collected or have collected packages from either Atiku or Tinubu. So they are sellouts. Now, the Northern Elders Forum have concluded that Peter Obi does not have what it takes. So one of their considerations is they will look for the most sellable candidate. The candidate they feel, according to them, all those ones are painting of words, who has the capacity to lead Nigeria. So in their rating and their rationale for capacity to lead includes and cannot be joked with. But though not all, but one of it is the person must have parliamentarians, must have governors who are also going to influence election from their own angle. So they don't believe that Nigerian masses can actually vote whom they want, and it counts. The Northern Elders Forum have been caught. They don't believe that Nigerians, the ordinary populace, the masses, can go to the pool and vote whom they want, and it will be held it will be held valid, and their choice will prevail. The Northern Elders Forum, their indices is that the person must have enough resources, money, to influence voting. The person must have political structures, which Datti already cleared Nigerians that the structures we have in Nigeria is that of criminality. So you can see that Nigeria is a state on total absolute deceit. So Datti, from his elite perspective, is that the structures are the reasons why Nigeria is where it is. So the Northern Elders Forum, who influences all elections, with their cronies are telling you that you must have that structure. You must have that structure also will incorporate governors and party forces. So now, from then this is you must be able to win at least 24, which is the standard out of 25 at least. You have the popular vote too. That is you win the most popular. Apart from the popular vote, you must win 24 out of 25 states at least. So in this, it is very clear that Nigeria is a state on absolute deceit. Everybody deceiving each other. Everybody. Everybody is deceived and everybody is deceiving. When we ask for a state that will be for us, then another important thing released by Prophet Ahmed is that going to Chatham House is to demean Nigerian statehood. Like I said in my previous video, going to Chatham House to campaign, other than you sitting back to tell Nigerians in Nigeria what you will do to arrest the unrest, the security challenges, the economic turmoil, the social vices, the political instability. What will you do to bring Nigeria away from doom? What will you do? Instead of you to tell Nigerians this, you are running away every day, economy, all of them, they're running away. Are you going to lead UK? He said that these people themselves, they laugh at us. They laugh at our foolishness. Why they are laughing is that even these ones who say that they are the excellencies, these ones who say that means the best of us are the biggest fools in their sight. So if these are the best in Nigeria, the ones they are clapping for, that you get obedient to, if all their brain will tell them is to come to UK, go to Chatham House to present their manifesto, but it's the fact that the idea is very crazy in entirety. In its entirety, is very lunatic. How will you be running to Chatham House to tell another man in a faraway land? So you rally people to follow you to you need to listen. Let me talk. You will listen to the video. I think I'll have to give you the video from beginning to the end. I will have to give you the video from beginning to end. Yes. You have to listen. Peter Obi, the North, said he's wasting his time. The Northern Elders Forum, they don't know how this guy just dragged them until they poured it out. Peter Obi doesn't have what it takes. Then why are you still deceiving? You can see the deceit of deceit. The deceit inside deceit. You have organized, you have a forum where you say you are assessing people, you want to pick the best. You can see self-indictment. You are looking for the best character, you are looking for the best, the most competent, and at the end of the day, you are not actually looking for the best. You are looking for who have political structure. And you said it should be about number, the vote from here, the Christians who vote and the Muslims who vote, that only Christian cannot. Even when you dissect this part of his comment, you understand. That's another deceit. He said, if no Christians, all Muslims or Islam cannot vote to deliver a candidate. Then he turned out to say if all the Christians refuse to vote a particular candidate, that it will not stop the candidate from winning. Dissect it well. Nigeria is a joke. Wallahi talai. Nigeria is a joke. This man, I must appreciate his intellectual soundness. He is. I think he's one of the very few people in the Fulani extraction who are really this intellectually vibrant. Yes, but when you see them in Nigeria who have that intellectual vibrancy, they use it to deceive the ordinary man. The ordinary man will just be there to clap. When they see the vibrance, they clap. That is why those professors like in Cross River State, when he came to, when he was coming in 2015 from the first time, his first tenure, he just was speaking all kinds of tautology and people were just clapping. He never told them he was coming to solve this problem or the other problem. That was why when he came in, the neatest, the most, the what do you call it, the tourist city in Nigeria, the Calabar, turned to a waste bin. Every part of the state became dirty. So just like we're having in we already have in Abia State and Anambra, so dustbin states. You can, if you listen, you have to listen to this video. I don't know if I should just put the video from the beginning. Okay, you just watch the video yourself. Watch the video yourself. Self-indictment.
You know, in one of your weekly articles, you said that it would be difficult for the Labour Party presidential candidate, Peter Obi, to emerge victorious in the elections due to what you describe as him battling titans,
So this is what
Tinubu.
it is.
And I recall having a conversation
Just keep watching.
Professor Ango Abdullahi, who said something similar. It would almost be impossible for him to win an election of this magnitude. And some would want to interpret this to mean that the Northern Elders Forum may not be looking in that direction, since he already holds these positions.
No, I think to be fair to both Professor Ango and me, you asked us a question about his prospects for being elected. And the response is, we look at Nigeria, we look at the Labour Party, we look at Obi as a candidate and Datti as his, and we look at where they stand in relation to all the competitions and the problems that they will have to face. To win an election for them would involve the same requirement for Atiku and Tinubu to win an election. That means votes, real votes, have been cast to give you 25% of the votes in 24 states and to give you the absolute majority of local votes cast. Currently, he's facing an he's facing the problem of dealing with two huge parties that have massive resources and support in many parts of the north, in many parts of Nigeria. He's got to reduce that support they have and tilt it in his direction. That's going to take a lot of resources. That's going to take a lot of mobilization, money, and marketing. Then you have people who will mobilize for you because they are also contesting. He doesn't have as many people, candidates for state assemblies, federal House of Reps, senators, governors, as APC and PDP have. They don't. He doesn't have that. And that's a critical requirement. Now, those are what is called the structures, the party presence, party officials, candidates. But Labour Party keeps saying the people is the structure. And so when Professor Ango and I say, his challenges are more profound than theirs, is because somehow they don't appear to be paying attention to grassroots mobilization. You need to mobilize voters. You need to go to Zamfara and say, if you elect me, Peter Obi, I will do better than Atiku and Tinubu because I understand your problems. And these are my people in Zamfara. This is my office. These are the people who are going to run for an office. They can go to Gombe and sell themselves. Now, rallies are not necessarily indicators of popularity. Anybody can do a rally. So when we make comments about Labour Party, it's not because we don't like them. And it's not because we've already taken a decision that we would not support them. It just simply, I interpret your question in terms of why do we say that Peter Obi has a more difficult challenge than, say, Atiku?
And then go further to ask whether you would consider supporting a candidate with that kind of challenge.
Well, why not? We're not just supporting someone who has the best
chance of winning.
We're looking for a candidate who is the best out of all of them. And when we say the best, we mean in character, in background, in what we see as a preparedness to lead a country. And we're also looking at the kind of government he's going to form. Because no one single person can transform this country. You need a whole team. Who are the people who work with you and for you? What are the kind of strategies you have to make sure that when you have power, you have some control or a good relationship with the legislature? People say things like, "Oh, don't worry about Peter. If he becomes president, everybody will defect and join Labour Party." And sometimes I think that's a bit simplistic.
It's a Nigerian thing, isn't it?
It's a Nigerian thing, and it is a distinct possibility. But another distinct possibility, you can have him become president, and then the legislators and other people that you think will run to him would sit back because they also have a lot of power and a lot of clout. And they may not necessarily defect. The people who would be in the House of Representatives and in the Senate and governors will be from the APC and PDP. They will ask, does it pay us more to join Labour Party to leave our tickets? Or does it pay us more to get him to do what we want?
Are you saying that you don't see the Labour Party winning good numbers in the House of Representatives and the Senate?
I'm looking at the numbers of people they even have who will contest.
But you do realize that there have been defections from either both of these parties to the Labour Party as well.
Yeah. Look, who is going to be your candidate or not is sealed. From INEC now, you can get a picture of how many people Labour Party has across the country who run for state assemblies, who run for Federal House of Reps, except for a few that are still being litigated, who will be senators, governors. Look at the quality of the people who will be governors. Do they stand a good chance of becoming governors as opposed to the APC and PDP's candidates? You have to put all those factors on the table and decide. But we are not going to decide purely on the basis of who has the best chance of becoming president. You could have the best chance of becoming president, but you may not have the best chance of becoming the best president or the right president. And we're looking for the right person. A lot of mutations, a lot of assumptions are being made. Okay, even if he doesn't have the people now, he's likely to get them. Mm-hmm. But we're worried about a situation where the post-election, we want a president who will hit the ground running, who is prepared right now, if he gets elected, to begin governance. If you ask me to list the top three contenders, to be Obi, Atiku, and Tinubu, and there is a basis for that. Perception, understanding, evidence on the ground. Maybe he will pull a surprise and surprise everybody and become the dark horse. Who knows? But we want a Nigerian president first. A person, irrespective of where you come from, irrespective of your faith, who would be elected because majority of Nigerians feel he understands the situations of Nigeria and can fix it. Then we want a president who understands the problems of the North and has a program that he can begin to implement from day one. We want a president that the North can have access to who will pick the best from the North and from the rest of Nigeria and work with them. And we want a president who would really deal with insecurity, build our infrastructure, address the issue of out-of-school children, address social problems that are existing, and reinvent Nigeria, allow Nigerians, facilitate a system that will allow Nigerians to be Nigerians, not Igbo and Hausa and Fulani. We want a president that will rediscover that Nigerianness and allow us. We want a president who would allow us to discuss the country. Whatever, restructuring, dialogue, anything. There's nothing wrong with that. And we want a Nigerian who will deal with the issue of banditry and kidnapping and Boko Haram. Those are the things we're looking for.
You know, there are concerns as to whether the average northerner has that kind of knowledge in making his decision. I recall recently that Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso tweeted that the North doesn't trust the Southeast because of the IPOB agitations there, and the North wants a united Nigeria. Do you think that on that basis, the North will have a challenge voting with anyone from the Southeast?
Again, so far, it's only Obi we're talking about. So why don't we talk?
He's not the only Southeasterner on the ballot, you know that, right?
He's not?
He's not.
Okay, yeah, but he's the only one that he's the most prominent one.
He's the front runner.
Okay, so he's the elephant in the room. Why don't we ask the question directly? Will a northerner vote for Peter Obi? That's what you want to ask.
Yes.
Why not? Why not? But the concerns, you said the average northerner, the average northerner is very sophisticated. And the average northerner is very knowledgeable. He will choose what is right for him, like everybody else. And if he doesn't think that issues like IPOB should have been, the fire of IPOB should have been put out as evidence that the Southeast, anybody from the Southeast is serious about asking Nigerians for his mandate. People, when I say this, people say, why don't you say the same thing about Atiku and Tinubu and everything? And I'm saying the stakes are higher for somebody from the Southeast. Somebody like Obi. If the South is the population of the Southeast is entirely supporting him, Igbo elites is supporting him, we ought to see a serious de-escalation of activities of IPOB. If nothing else, just to show that he can actually reduce the level of exposure. Because that everybody has a primary constituency. Whether you like it or not, his primary constituency is the Southeast. So that's why it's important. When I say this, it's not necessarily to say that, like some people say, call out Atiku over Boko Haram.
Yeah, so I was also going to draw your attention to the agitation in the Southwest as well. Do you think that applies to the APC presidential candidate?
Let me just say this. The more people play the ethnic card, the more everybody has an ethnic identity. If you keep harping on this issue that he is ours, he is Igbo, he is ours, he is Yoruba, he is ours, all you're going to do is to trigger he is ours because he's from the north, either he's Hausa, Fulani, or whatever. That's all you're going to do. And people will line up eventually behind people the same way that you will line up behind yours. And we don't want that. Believe me, this country doesn't want an ethnic president. They don't want a president elected on the basis of his faith. We want a president who will be voted in because enough Nigerians feel comfortable enough and confident enough that he will actually fix the problems of this country. So we are receding, we are retreating. Where we are now is very dangerous. All this endorsement on the basis of faith and on the basis of ethnicity is very damaging. It's not moving the country forward. It's just simply taking us back. 1964. Long before the military came in. We have a very, very good understanding of history. We've broken a lot of bridges that shouldn't be there. The North is just beginning to talk to the Southeast. Right now, I can say this to you. However, there is a dialogue, discussion going on between northern groups and Ohanese Indigo, and we don't know where it will end. But it's good that we're even talking.
What's the basis for a dialogue?
Well, because we have to rebuild bridges. We have to build bridges. Some of it is political, some of it is looking at what this country will be. The consequences of the elections are very important. We're not just going to elect someone. This election is more than an election. It's a referendum on Nigeria. So where are the responsible people are? Where are they? You must look at the build-up to the elections and say what is wrong. Don't do this. You must look at the conduct of the elections themselves. Between the two elections, what happens? Will some people cause trouble because in the first election their candidate hasn't won, and therefore they will raise hell over the second election? You have to ask a question. What happens if you have a president and there's a lot of dispute over the fact that it's not your candidate?
Keep watching.
So talking at this stage at the level of elites and elders is very useful. If all we do is to say, look, let's allow the electoral process to produce the next president. Let's put as little hindrance as possible. Let's lower security, the insecurity threshold. Let's talk to each other. Let Nigerians see an Igbo leadership and the Northern Elders Forum leadership talking to each other, so that the huge numbers of Northerners in the Southeast can say, oh, okay, so we can have an election without necessarily having to die after it. And then the Southeasterners living in the North can have some comfort that this is not a war. This is an election. So those are some of the values of this discussion. And I think it's a good thing that is taking place. And there's another forum which has representatives from Afenifere, from Pande, from Ohanese Indigo, from ACF, from Northern Elders Forum. This afternoon, after this interview, we're going to meet with the Peace Committee. These are people, prominent Nigerians, who said, listen, somebody has got to look after Nigeria. And that's the compatriots. So everybody is looking after ethnic groups, but who's looking after the country?
Another tweet from Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso said that the elections would be free and fair if all stakeholders, especially the president, wants a free and fair election. The president has repeatedly said that he's giving INEC all the freedom it requires, all the funding as well, and has promised a free, fair, and credible process of free, fair, and credible elections in 2023. With a statement from Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso and what the president has said, does the president's body language and statement suggest to you that indeed he wants a free and fair election in 2023?
I think the president's understanding of allowing INEC, allowing credibility of the election is narrow, it's too narrow. He's limiting it to, I'm not going to interfere in INEC's processes. I'm not going to decide, I'm not going to help to rig an election. I've given them everything they needed, and I'm not interfering in anything. Even within his party, he's relatively aloof. So I think he defines his definition of I'm going to support a credible election is too narrow. A credible election will not take place unless you radically improve the security environment. As we speak, huge numbers of communities are under the influence of non-state actors who can determine whether people come out to vote or not. Huge numbers in the Southeast, in the Northeast, in the Northwest. A large number of people. And these non-state actors can actually have a major impact on turnout. What are you doing about that? You cannot approach the election with the assets and the resources that you have and imagine that everything will fall in place. There will be places where people will threaten anybody who goes out to vote for an election. There will be places where people can't venture out to go. There are places where INEC cannot deploy personnel and material. If the president is really serious about having a credible election, goes beyond non-interference and funding INEC. It also involves improving the access to the electoral process by all Nigerians and allowing a peaceful environment where votes will count and people will agree over who wins. I'm afraid in that area, he doesn't appear to be at this stage. At this stage, it's like 17 days to go. I'm hoping he doesn't have to reveal all his plans. I'm hoping that they are looking very critically at areas where the nation is vulnerable in terms of the election, radically improving the quality of the security they are going to provide around election time, dealing with election violence, monitoring threats that are likely to arise for this, and then for us in the North, raising the level of security around communities. They want to vote. A lot of the people who are under influence of bandits and kidnappers, who are afraid of them, have cards. They want to vote. On the 25th of February, what kind of condition will you create that would allow them to actually go out and vote in peace and security and come back? Those are basic questions, and there are many. In Katsina, in his own state, in Kaduna, in Niger State, in Zamfara, in Sokoto, there are communities where people can't vote. So, for me, I see his role in a wider context than he is defining it. He thinks just not telling INEC, give him the leadership, or this is what I want. It's enough. Saying, give them all the money they ask is enough. It isn't. You've got to secure the electoral environment and secure sufficiently. And right now, I'm not too sure. We are spread too thin in terms of our security assets. And I hope that they have a plan for boosting it tremendously. Dealing with the Southeast, will IPOB allow an election? Maybe the first one, will they allow the second one if Peter Obi doesn't win? What is going to happen in Borno and Yobe with Boko Haram? How do we deal with bandits and kidnappers who are already preventing farmers from going to their farms? Would they also say, we don't want you to go and vote? I'm not exaggerating this. These are realities we live with every day in the North. So, if the president wants credible elections, he must go beyond non-interference with INEC as well as funding. I think the candidates themselves have run out of ideas. They've run out of, maybe they've shown us our manifesto, they've shown us our programs. Maybe they have understated or they haven't understood this long 5-month campaign period. They've run out of ideas. Now they're falling back to the staple, the normal staple of politics. Insults and abuses. But these insults and abuses inflame an already charged atmosphere. And its potential for triggering unrest, particularly among younger people, is great. So it's disappointing.
You're familiar with what's happened in the past weeks and how the candidates have been going to Chatham House, including the INEC chairman himself. And some Nigerians are not comfortable with that. They don't see the need going all the way to London to speak to Nigerians over an election that will be held in Nigeria. Where do you stand on that?
I stand with Nigerians who think this is contemptuous, this is irresponsible, because you spend a huge amount of your money, our money, whoever's money, going to London to speak to us, because you're certainly not speaking to British people. The British people are not interested in what you plan to do in Nigeria. And it's also demeaning. It demeans the country. It demeans you, who is likely to be the president of the country. That you had to take a whole bunch of Nigerians to go to one small think tank. I use the word small not in terms of capacity, but you have no business going out of the country just simply to impress us. Impress us here. This is where the action is. Tell us what you're going to do about the joblessness. Tell us what you're going to do about 15 million young people who have no hope. They're not going to school, or if they're going to school, it's not worth any going there. They don't have no jobs. Even if they go to school, they graduate and there's nothing. Tell us what you plan to do about this population bulge. What do you intend to do? What do you intend to do about Kanu? Are you going to talk to him? Are you going to negotiate with him? All the bandits and the other criminals, what do you plan to do? Talk to us here. Tell us. But when you go out of this country to a place because someone else is gone, it shows clearly that you're not thinking the way we think. You're not impressing anybody because you've gone to Chatham House. Anybody can go to Chatham House. Anybody. And I really mean it. And I don't want to be disrespectful of Chatham House. But it's not a big deal. In fact, what it represents is that you don't think much about Nigeria and Nigerians. And when you become president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, is that going to be a reflection of how you conduct foreign policy in relation with other countries? What do foreign countries have to do with us? What does a foreign think tank, a forum they provide, just a forum, what do they have to do with this election? So if there are Nigerians who are worried about this, I'm one of them. I wish they hadn't done it. I know we don't have an influence over them. They will do it. They will find other avenues to go out. Maybe it gives them an opportunity to rest for 2 or 3 days.
In anticipation of the endorsement of the Northern Elders Forum, the Muslim ticket conversation has resurfaced. And now there are concerns as to whether or not that would be a factor in the decision of the Northern Elders Forum.
The North is made up of Muslims and Christians. Religion is an extremely sensitive issue in the North, as it is in the South. But in the North, more sensitive, because it's one of the major fault lines. It has triggered a lot of conflict, unnecessary conflict, because it doesn't have to be an issue. The Muslim ticket is a deliberate choice by the APC candidate, and he will live with the consequences of that. We can see some of it. He has alienated some elements of the northern population, the Christian element, substantially. Maybe it's based on a calculation, but what we do know is that no Christian, no Nigerian Christian, no northern Christian or northern Muslim will fight over the ticket because, for or against, because their faith will be favored. If Tinubu becomes president, Islam is not necessarily going to be treated better than Christianity, simply because both him and his deputy are Muslims. If he becomes president, the northern Christian is not going to be better off or worse because Tinubu and his deputy are both Muslims. We won't allow our faith to be used for patently partisan interests. And we know our commitment to our faith is stronger than this. So there's a lot of politics involved in this. But what we do know is that we will not fight over faith.
So it's not a factor in the decision-making process of the Northern Elders Forum?
It's not.
But are you not concerned about the unity of the country? I say this because political analysts and some citizens have raised concerns about the level of divisiveness in the country as it stands now. And then saying further that a Muslim ticket, if it turns out to be a winning ticket, may further raise the agitations in the different regions.
Look, no one can become president of this country unless they are voted in accordance with the rules and the law. They are voted by a majority of Nigerians. They must have they must win 25% of the votes in at least 24 states. Then they must get the majority of the local votes cast. Anybody who becomes president would have had massive votes from Christians and from Muslims. You cannot become president if all the Muslims in this country line up behind you. You can't. Because you wouldn't get the requirement. You can't lose an election because all the Christians have lined up against you. You can't. So this tendency to say, if he wins, it will be because Christians and Muslims have voted for him. So where does all this Muslim ticket emerge from? If the Muslim-Christian ticket wins, it's because Muslims and Christians have voted for it. So it really is irrelevant. But in the calculation of the APC, they see it as a vote winner. But no matter what you think of it, the ultimate judgment for that decision is how Nigerians vote. And that's why we say, at all costs, you must allow a credible election to take place. Whoever wins this election must have won it without doubt, transparently. The records should show you won it clean, free, and fair. That's the best way to solve all these arguments.
You know, in one of your weekly articles, you said that it would be difficult for the Labour Party presidential candidate, Peter Obi, to emerge victorious in the elections due to what you describe as him battling titans, Atiku and Tinubu.
And there is something I liked about that interview. He used some languages that I like. He said, it is contemptuous, it is irresponsible. So why would you be heading all the way to Chatham House in the first place? It is demeaning. So if you go by his language, you can see very clearly that there is nothing any of these people, any of these chaps got to offer. They don't have anything to offer, because he doesn't see Indian, let me use India. He doesn't see Indian aspirants going to Chatham House to campaign, to present their manifestos. That looks absurd. It looks so laughable, so ludicrous. It looks so funny, and in fact, the most funny part of it is that these are the people we celebrate as the soundest of minds. Is this the problem here? Is that all of these people have good things to say. After this, I think after this video, you will see I have to put another video. You will see, okay, I will allow it for another analysis for another day, because you see the hypocrisy, the height of it. All of these people you see in the media, they know that there is no hope, but they want to force hope on themselves. False hope. They know that this thing is not going to work. There is a particular person you might have seen the video, but you've not read meaning into the personality of the person, his position in the society, his status. If you know how much this guy doesn't believe in Nigeria, in any of the people coming, because he knows that they are all failures. He knows that they are all contemptuous. He knows that none of them is reliable, not even one. In his analysis, he virtually called all of them. He called them, and that. Okay, look at this prof now. Yes, he has tried to condemn ethnic politics. At the end of the day, he is championing ethnic politics, but he uses a high-profile craft. He's a marvelous diplomat. He knows how to sell. He knows how to drive human psychology. He drives you and take you to where he's going, and you follow him. But for some people who are of thick brain, you will catch him. You always catch them. You always catch them. Now, this video, you can see that all the noise you see. Now, if Peter Obi has been written off by southeastern governors, in fact, even in my yesterday video, I made an error, because the error is I trusted that Wike was going for him, but it is getting clearer that Wike has not taken stance for anybody, but he will most likely go tilt towards Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because for Atiku, he has crossed Atiku. Atiku is not in the game. some of his colleagues have tilted towards Obi. You can see that Obi doesn't even have. It's even like Calabar and Akwa Ibom that he will even have more votes, like, and Benue. So we don't even have any value. So what are we saying? Is it clear to you now that some of those of the IPOB people who have abandoned the man that mean everything for them, for the election that the man prohibit, for the election of the man, or for the for campaigning for a man that the leader they trust, they believe has sacrificed everything for them, has condemned, showing that he is cursed, saying everything negative about the same person they abandoned him, that sacrificed everything for them for. You get? I know the statement looks somehow unclear. They abandoned their leader who have sacrificed everything to go for the man whom their leader already exposed his evil in details, telling them that they must never. In fact, it is even better for the Fulani to continue for this man to, because he doesn't. The man in question is a man of double standard. He is not a reliable person in any at all. The same man has accused Anambra State governor of removing, not allowing him to host his campaign banners or to hang or paste bills, campaign bills, posters. But we found out on Soludo's interview that Soludo even allowed him to even use state properties twice for free, just because Soludo did not allow him to use it again and again. So the ones Soludo did, all now were story for the gods, where they don't exist again. Soludo have given. So we can see that even the North you think he is campaigning. They said, according to the Northern Elders Forum, they you need to first of all come to campaign in these places first now for them to even accept you. So what have been the campaign, the strengths of the campaign and acceptance in those? So you can see that these people will never allow you to see the light of the day. They will never allow you to see the light of the day. So if they believe that they were looking for excellence, or they were looking for the best among these people, is there any way you assess? Is P2B at least is clearly better than all of these people in the race, at least at this moment in time? But the truth remains that even him, he is not qualified. From every assessment of it, to us, from every assessment of it, because he first of all need to identify with his own people. He first of all need to get approval from home. He need to be. So when he denied his home, what other qualification has he? So why the Northern Elders Forum are not going to support him is because they already found out that he is not endorsed by his own people, not even the political elites, not even the co-preferers. Not even his co-preferers. No, those people who have kept the people deceived for ages. It is now clear to a lot of you that the North is a name to deceive the main people of higher population in the North. The Middle Belt have been hoodwinked into that name, North, for political gains of the Fulani. And the Fulani who presides over the Northern Elders Forum have taken their stance already. So the other people now are just aloof, like he just used. They are aloof of the development. They are aloof of what is. Some of them are still thinking that they are together. That maybe tomorrow. Some of them are thinking that they will still endorse P2B. But at the end of the day, you see where the Prof. Ahmed is going. Clearly, P2B does not meet the standard. So P2B, first of all, need to have the structure for him to get their vote, to get their endorsement. So their own endorsement will come with so much craft. They say there are many ways of giving endorsement, so they might not come out open to endorse. Are you people following the game? Are you following it? Please, this is it. Thank you, the living Chukwumeriji. I'm just I'm just laughing at the whole scenario. I'm just laughing because I know in the next 4 weeks plus it will be done on many of us. So now some of us will now start shouting Biafra again. Funny people everywhere. Udo dịrị ndị chọrọ udo. Udo dịrị ndị chọrọ ihe ọma. Ya gazie